All right, let's get to some skinning. This mesh is probably a lot more, what do you say? It's probably like a lot more finished than what you guys have right now for your film, since you're just prevising. So what I've gone ahead and done is just I've done something that can sort of like, what do you say, like represent where you guys are in the process. So I'm just gonna say like a super rough model here. I'm just gonna try and export this as a I call it man, nice naming convention, but great. So I just have like this low mesh here, and this is basically the same approach that we did last year, where we built like a low poly mesh that we can sort of skin, and then we copy the weights from this one over to the other, and then we clean that up. So I'm just gonna call this proxy. And I got a namespace with me when I pulled that in, so I'm just gonna delete that main namespace. We don't want that. Cool. So for now, I'm just gonna hide this geo. I'm gonna hit save. And then we just need to select all the joints that we're gonna use for our skinning, right? So we know that we're gonna use these two. We're gonna use these two, and I want to use these two. I want to use this. And as you can see, like when I select this one, it kind of highlights everything green, and that makes it impossible for me to see what I have selected if I want to select it in the viewport. So I'm gonna undo that and just select from the bottom and back. And you can see I'm not selecting end joints, right? I'm only selecting the actual control joints, because this joint wouldn't be controlling anything, right? It's this joint that's controlling everything that comes after it. So I need this joint because it controls the hand. I need this one, the arm, the upper arm, the clavicle. Same thing for this side. I need every finger. Oops. And then I need the jaw, head, neck, top spine, mid spine. That's it. Select the mesh, skin, bind skin, and then select that. Remember not to do the joint hierarchy. Again, I'm gonna repeat it again. Do never neglect going into the option box. It's the number one reason when I come around and I see people, it's like, oh, it looks a little bit weird, and I'm like, did you, for instance, change the joint hierarchy, or did you, the constraints, did you make sure that you checked that it wasn't maintain offset on and off? So keep that in mind. Option box, check it out. And then maximum influence, I just set that to 5, and we'll see as soon as I do something like this. So the next thing I can do now is that this is a little bit annoying because a lot of the weights is actually going over here. What I'll quickly try and do is just say skin, and I'll see if I can find the prune weights, and just hit apply on this and just try and increase that a little bit. And it can be quite cruel, but what it's doing is basically it cleans up my mesh. It basically says like everything that's below 0.12 should just move away. So if this one over here is influencing this point here by 0.12, it will take that away. And you can see like how it actually cleaned up quite a lot of my model. So now it's actually much more, you know, it's much faster for me to clean. And I can also see if I take this toe roll and the heel roll, they're actually already working quite neatly. So yeah, start up by using that prune weight, and then we'll clean that up from there. Cool. I can see here, for instance, that my prune weight didn't really help too much on this, so we need to manipulate that a little bit. So the next thing I'll do is to start cleaning up on this little bit ugly but very necessary proxy model. Cool. And as I always say, we always just do one side and then we clean up from there. So next part is just to go in here. So I right click on the mesh and I say paint skin weight, and then I can right click on a bone and I can say select influence. So next thing I want to do is to select the controller here, and I'm just going to hit S on that, set a key, take the arm down, set a key. So now I have like a movement here. And I think my timeline might be a little bit long. No, that's okay. Screw it. I'm just going to do like that. Okay. So I take this arm down and I can see that this upper arm is clearly influencing this part here, and I don't want that. So I'm just going to select that arm. And inside the skinning tool, so I suggest that you just kind of use the other course because this is just an introduction to Previs, so it'll only just touch the surface of what I'm doing. But what I'll do here is I'll just right click, lock, and then I'll take that clavicle, and then I'll probably just drop the weights onto that, so I'll unlock that. So now if I move weight from this, all the other ones are locked, so they cannot go onto these, but it can go onto the clavicle because that's that one's unlocked. So with this one, I need to paint with a value of 0. So if I paint here, you can see all that value is actually going back onto this clavicle. Sweet. So just slowly trying to, you know, clean this stuff up here. Let's take that down. Great. And we're actually already like in a position where I would say like this is good enough for Previs, at least for the projects we're doing here. And I can see that this clavicle is, for instance, controlling stuff over here, and I don't want that, so I'm just going to make that fall back onto the spine. So I'm just going to take that clavicle here, set it to full value, drop it off like that, and just keeping that pretty simple so it's not going over the other side. It'll make it easier for me to just make it manipulate one side. That also means that I should probably take the other clavicle here, or arm. I usually always remove the weights from this side, and I usually drop it onto the spine. So I'll just take all of this clavicle here and just flood that with 0. Which basically means, oh sorry, I need to lock them one by one. Arm off. I could actually, I could just do like this, flood that with 1. So now it's actually flooding, oops, all the way over to the side, because these ones are open, right? Cool. And then if I take this now and I just say, hang on, I'm seeing a little bit of weird stuff going on here. So that's actually 0'd. This is not completely uncommon that you see some errors with your IK handle, and I just want to check out what's going on here. So I can see that I actually accidentally set a key on my heel here, which is not great because I don't know how to place that backwards, right? So I need to find a way to get that back into position. So the first thing I'll do is just try and delete that key. And because I know that my controller is back into 0 position, as I can see here, I can just take this, I can take the other side because I know that that one's correct. So that's one way to get back to that, and just duplicate it, unparent that, and just do what we did before. We set this one back into this position, and I can take this whole heel lock and just drop it back there, and then I can delete this duplicate. So now that should be fixed. And that's again, as you can see, like if I take this leg here, I can go into the skinning tool, and if I go into the tools here, I would just want to right click and say lock inverse, and just unlock that leg, unlock all these legs here, because I basically just want to just mirror based on my middle controller. So if I take the spine here, and just flood that with 0, you'll see like the spine is now mirrored over to the side as well. This one's basically controlling this side. My arm is controlling this side here. And I can actually almost start copying the weights over to my actual mesh. And I think like for most of you, you'll probably be like in a pretty good position already when you're just here. Lock inverse. See what the neck's doing. The neck's quite crazy influencing here. So if I move that around, that's a bit much. So I probably want to just paint off some of the weights here from the neck. And where do we want that to go? Probably down to the spine B here. Oh. So unlock that, take that, and I'm just gonna lock everything because I just want to make sure everything's locked. And then I'll take that neck, and I'm just gonna value of 0, paint with value of 0. So I know that that drops into the. You guys know where that drops onto now. It drops onto the I'm losing my words. It's dropping onto the spine. There we go. Great. Cool. So that's no longer, but we can see that it's actually still influencing. Why is that? It's probably because the jaw and the head are still influencing. So I'm just gonna do that, lock the neck, take the movement of the jaw off here. And honestly, yeah, so it's falling back to the spine. That's okay. I could probably paint it so it fell back on the neck as well, but for now I think it's okay. So that's the head. Let's check out where the jaw is going. So the jaw is controlling way too much down here as well. We just want all this stuff to just fall off correctly onto the jaw. But this stuff up here should probably be following the head, right? So right now I'm just setting that to follow the head and the spine. So I don't want that. Head here, jaw. So the jaw should definitely not influence that much, but I don't want the jaw to influence from the spine. So I wanted this weight, all the gray weight here, to fall back onto the head. So I'm just going to lock the spine now and just keep that head unlocked. And basically what I'm trying to avoid is when I'm moving this around, you'll see that's quite nuts. It doesn't really matter too much since we can't really see the mouth here anyways, but we'll see in just a second how this is going to work. Cool, but we clean it up nice. So what I'll do up here is I'll say select by name, asterisk. So it means that select everything. Select everything. This is means select everything in the scene. Then I say but select everything that's called CTRL. So everything that finishes off with CTRL. So I select all my controllers, absolute transform, sorry. Go over here and just reset all this. And we can do this because we reset all our controllers correctly. So we're good there. And as you can see, like, it's actually starting to work. We just need to clean up this a little bit. So just as we did with the arms, I'm just going to do something like this. And select this and go into the channel control here. Right click, lock inverse. Unlock this one. Unlock that and just paint this off. And you might want to have like a little bit of a smooth fall off here in the back. Just something like that. Just so I'm just smoothing that. So that's okay. Oops. Cool. And I could probably sit and, you know, like fiddle around with this for quite a while, but you know how to clean that up by now. Lock, unlock, and so on. Lastly, skin. Go into the mirror option box. Positive to negative, yeah, that's from this side to this side, because if you select the cube, you can see it goes into positive values. If you select you can see it goes into negative values. That's one way that you can sort of like keep that checking that. Also, you can see that the X value goes out to this side, not to this side, even though it's also X over here on this little icon here, right? So now it's mirrored and it seems to be working. That's cool. So now what I'll do is I'll just copy the weights from this object, and the way that I do it is I select this I select the mesh, and then I say Windows, and then I say we can click on this one up here, which should give us the hyper shade. That just for some reason takes a while. Cool. I don't like having this material viewer over here, so I'm old school. I don't want that. I'm just gonna close this, and then with this selected, I'm just gonna say input connections. Oh, sorry. We probably need the node editor instead. So if I say window node editor, we can't do that in the hypershade. That's okay. And there we go. So if I just say input, you can see all this big line here will always be the joints. There are other ways to get them, but this is the fastest and easiest. So just make sure you drag all the way up here. Boom. And then I'm just going to unhide this geometry. I'm just going to isolate it. And then I'm going to select all these joints that I just got forward here before. Select that. And then I'm just going to drag all this geometry here and just say skin, bind skin. Because then I know that my proxy geo and my final skinning has the same joints connected. Great. And then I'll select this proxy geo, and then I'll select, I don't know if I can do multiple. We can try and do that. I'm not sure. We can try and just select this one. So I first select the proxy, because that's where I skinned, basically like rough skinned. That's where I skinned, and I want that to be passed on to this object here. So I'm just going to say skin, copy skin weights, and because they have the same, we're just going to try and do like these settings here. And actually, I'm curious. I just want to see like if I can select multiple skins. Okay, that works. So let's just try and get all these things, and we probably need his socks. So this is also why you can use your previous model to actually skin your character, right? So that's why it's quite nice if you do like a pretty decent like roughly work on your character, you'll see like quite a lot of it can be translated into from your proxy into your final mesh. And you know, like we can clean this stuff up, but we're actually like in a pretty good position. And okay, so the ray casting actually didn't work that nicely. That's disappointing. Let's try and see here. Okay, so what we're seeing is basically, you know, like I could clean this up a little bit better. And right now also on this mesh, I would have to clean up the thumbs and the fingers. But after all, it's pre-visualization, and I think, you know, this is a really good position to be in, considered how long time we've spent on it. I think this is weird to me. I don't think that copy skin weight actually worked, so I just want to see, you know, like if that actually worked. So I'm just gonna try and just select that proxy mesh here and just see what happens if I put that out there. And then if I take this proxy mesh here and I just select this one here and I say skin, copy skin weights, let's see if that actually works. Okay, so it seems like I actually couldn't mirror or copy more than one anyways, so I'm just gonna try and keep on doing this. So that actually already looks a lot better. So that kind of, I mean, I wrote a script that does this for me, so but I think, you know, like it doesn't really take that much time just to go in and select the proxy mesh and then select the proper mesh or the final mesh, and just make sure you don't select this mesh and then the proxy and then copy, because then you're kind of like copying crappy skin weights onto your proxy mesh, and then the whole purpose is kind of killed. Okay, but that actually worked quite nicely, which means that this is sort of like our proxy rig. So finally, let's just clean this up, and then we're done. About 2 hours of lectures, and yeah, pretty fast for you guys to go through. So I'm just going to group everything, call it rig group. And this is basically what your scene should look like. So you kind of just have everything underneath one scene, and now the animators can definitely go to town and go crazy. So strange. I feel like I just saw a mistake that I'm just completely ignoring, and I'm just gonna address it now. So what I just saw was that my pole vectors was for some reason not working, and I just want to make sure that I know why. The iPlane bend is on, the IQ pole vector is on, and it is an RP solver. That's really strange. But okay, just gonna try and delete that and select this one, select that IK handle. Maybe I took the wrong one, maybe I didn't say pole vector. Yeah, so now it creates the line. Okay, maybe I did a mistake there. Let's just recreate those pole vector. Oh. That's the one we want. And I don't want that constraint. And I just want this one, and constraint pole vector. That just doesn't want to budge. Let's drag it. Constraint pole vector. It's an RP solver. Okay, there we go. For some reason, didn't want to do it. Now it works. Cool. Okay, well, we're done. Nice. That was it's a good lecture. Oh, one last thing that you can do is also, you know, like just say select all of them. And we're definitely not using the scales on anything. On pole vectors, we're never using the rotate, so get rid of that. lock and hide. Remember, if you want to create, like, if you, I mean, I'm not assuming that you have that you actually have this like finalized mesh, but if you do and you just want to add some blinking, you don't need to do that all with your with rigging. You can just do that with a blend shape. So just go and select the mesh and create blend shape, and then just add a target, and we're just gonna call that blink, and I'm just gonna call this one face, or you can call it your character name and blend and whatever. I think I'm gonna usually go like a face BLND, and I'm gonna call this M blink because I'm not gonna do one for each eye. I'm just gonna do it for both eyes. And actually, I'm not sure if he even does have eyes underneath here, so we'll see. That'll be an interesting thing. Soft selection on, and I definitely don't want that to be that much, and I want it to be surface. Nice. Yeah, you can spend ages on just trying to make this look nice, but I'm not sure if I can do that just this fast. But I'm just gonna take that, rotate like something like that, and just do it like that. Okay, this is gonna look really great. Cool. I'm sure some of you guys can do this way better than me, so I'm gonna leave you to it in just a second. Great. And then you can just add, you know how to add that as a blend shape. So you can just say like add attribute, blink. Set that to a minimum of 0, maximum of 1. Good. You have that blink now on your head controller. Edit, add a connection editor. Select blend shape node, lock that in there. Blink, input target. Oh, sorry, wait, blink. Cool. And now, sweet. And you can clean up the skinning on the face. And as always, hide some things so our animators don't get in doubt of what to animate. And yeah, there you go. That's our rig. And well done. So good luck with your films, and I look forward to see it as always. You guys are an awesome class. So yeah, please just send me forward whatever you have, and if you have a question, just I mean, I don't really have like a whole lot of time these days, but I'll always try and reply as fast as I can. But ask each other. I mean, you guys usually figure it out on your own anyways. I mean, you're a good class. So I'll see you guys around, and hopefully I'll see you soon. Take care, guys.